Welcome to 1500ESPN.com. Derek Wetmore and Andrew Kramer out here at Winter Park, where the big news today, of course, we talked with Jerome Simpson and Cordarrelle Patterson about kind of the shifting roles at wide receiver, given Simpson's multiple charges this morning on suspicion of DWI. Yeah. Andrew, what's the latest on Jerome Simpson vis-a-vis Cordarrelle Patterson and playing time?
Yes, he was obviously formally charged with the DWI this morning, and Leslie Frazier was pretty coy about it and said that he expects Simpson to play, but wouldn't say that he's actually going to start. Now, we talked to Simpson after practice today, and Cordarrelle Patterson actually took first-team reps with Simpson. Now, I haven't seen that before, but obviously the open media portions of practice are just the individual work. But Simpson claimed that was normal. However, the Star Tribune went out and reported that Cordarrelle Patterson is actually going to start, so we'll see what actually happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because he's been such a dynamic playmaker for them in the return game. Yep. His first receiving touchdown recently.
Yep.
How does this impact the rookie's playing time, and do you think it's maybe a good thing for him to get more of the field?
Yeah, I mean, if they're reluctant to put him in before, as we've seen, that this is maybe going to force their hand at that. Frazier said that this was part of our plan all along. We were going to put him in there more, and you saw in the Washington game he got his first touchdown catch, and we were putting him in more. However, his snaps, he played a season-high 39% of the snaps on Thursday night. That should go up with Simpson getting quote-unquote benched with this disciplinary incident that he's had now. And who knows what's going to happen with the court system with violating his probation from a felony drug charge plea a couple years back. So this could be a whole ordeal, but the one that might come out on top in all this is Cordarrelle Patterson.
Sure. The other news, it's perpetually news, it seems, in Vikings camp here, they're never sure who's going to start at quarterback. Frazier made it sound like it's Christian Ponder if he's healthy, but they're not sure about the shoulder. He's going to do some work today in individuals. I heard he was taking reps with the ones as well, but I mean, he's pretty limited in practice with that. Was it a dislocated shoulder?
He had a dislocated shoulder in his non-throwing shoulder, so that's Correct. Why they're hoping he can make this quick turnaround and play 10 days later.
Yeah, and Josh Freeman also getting looks, and didn't rule out Matt Castle either. Could start this weekend. It's anyone's guess, I think, at this point. It seems like Ponder is the leading candidate, but we've been duped before, and the Vikings are not showing their hand on this.
Yeah, and I'd be very surprised if Ponder didn't make this start. I mean, they put him in 3 games in a row before this. The only way he doesn't make the start, and they've said this, is if that shoulder injury is too painful for him to go out there. And basically it's a matter of, can he take a hit with that injury? Because he's not throwing. It's not the throwing motion. It doesn't hinder that at all. So it's just basically, can he take a hit? Can he get back up and play? And keep in mind that if he thinks he can play beforehand and they put him in there, a hit or two from the Seattle Seahawks defense may knock him out for the game, and there may be an in-game switch, and maybe we see Castle or Freeman step in because they have to.
Yeah, you wonder. A couple other quick notes. Percy Harvin has been activated from the physically unable to perform list by Seattle. No guarantee that he plays. We talked with Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll on a conference call. Everyone kind of wants to dodge the Percy story from Vikings camp, from Seahawks camp. It's understandable, but I mean, they don't want to make that a big storyline from the game. So
yeah, and the Seahawks coach Pete Carroll talked about how he actually had a prior relationship with Percy before when he was a coach at USC. He had recruited him a little bit coming out of high school. So he had a relationship with him before. He kind of knew his personality, and he said he could understand where he was coming from in his split with the Vikings. Now, Pete wouldn't say exactly what Percy told him in regards to what went wrong here in Minnesota, but he said, I'll let Percy handle that. Obviously, though, either the Seahawks or him decided to not put Percy on the conference call with us, so we talked with quarterback Russell Wilson today, who had glowing things to say about Percy.
Right. Yep. Final Vikings note before we end this video here is that Kevin Williams, kind of the talk is possibly switching to nose tackle. He doesn't seem to really be receptive to it, but at the same time, he says he'll do whatever the Vikings want him to do. What have we learned the latest on Kevin Williams?
Yeah, Kevin wasn't available today, but I talked with Sharif Floyd and Chase Baker, and both of them were saying in the meeting rooms he's very reluctant to make any kind of full-time switch. Leslie Frazier came out today and said, look, we were going to take a look at getting him a few snaps in there because of how good he was on Thursday night. Remember, he got 2.5 sacks. Right. He hadn't had 2.5 sacks in his past 23 games combined, and he came out and had that in one night. And they haven't really. That's one of the positions that's really lacked lately for the Vikings this season is from their nose tackle play. Mm-hmm. Fred Evans gets a lot of push in pass rush, but LaTroy Guion has just had 3 sacks in his past 24 games combined. In stopping the run, they've been gouged up the middle all season. And going up against Marshawn Lynch and the Seattle Seahawks defense, they might want to put Kevin Williams in there a little bit more than he wants. But it sounds like he's still just going to be a fill-in. LaTroy Guion practiced today. Fred Evans did not. So if Guion goes, it's likely he makes the start at nose again with Kevin going back to 3-tech. and then Kevin swapping where Fred would normally, with Sharif backing up Kevin.
Thanks, Andrew. That'll do it for us at Winter Park here today. Thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com for all your Vikings updates. Keep checking the website throughout the week. This guy's got you covered. For Andrew Kramer, I'm Derek Wetmore.